Good afternoon. The March 23rd, 2010 meeting of the Recreation and Education Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call roll?
Mr. Gamble? Here. Mr. Gumina? Here. Ms. Cayley? Here. Mr. Tucciarello? Here. Mrs. Valerio?
Here. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There's not.
Therefore, is there anyone present that would like to speak to this committee before this time? No? There being none, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. You have the February 23rd, 2010 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk?
Referral 10-84, amend the 2010 capital budget.
Okay, moved by Mr. Gumina, seconded by Mr. Tucciarello. Any discussion? Mr. Gumina.
Through you, Madam Chair, to Mr. Staub, as we look at this project, what is the urgency that this project take place now?
Through you, Madam Chair, the urgency of this project is dictated by the conditions on the ground at the zoo at this point. This project is contained totally within the Rocky Coast exhibit, which include the polar bear exhibit, the sea lion exhibit, and the penguin exhibit. What we're basically doing is replacing all of the pumps and filtration and purification systems involved in maintaining the water quality in those exhibits. They're all water-based exhibits. We started this project a year ago with phase 1, which included replacement of the pumps, installation of a computerized drive system, and the chemical controls related to the water quality. Already, that has saved us $45,000 in energy costs going forward. And that'll be an annual savings. What this addition to the project does is allows us to go forward with phase 2 and phase 3. Phase 3 includes ozone treatment of the water, which relates to both purification and clarity. It also includes a chiller for the water, which will allow our sea lions to be on exhibit more throughout the summer, and will also improve their quality of life. It'll also entail replacement of the filtration media at the penguin exhibit. Where we really get into some additional savings here and of the real sense of urgency is phase 3, which this referral also includes, which addresses serious leak problems that we have at the penguin exhibit. Currently, we are losing 50,000 gallons of water per day at the penguin exhibit, and the penguin exhibit holds 15,000 gallons. So we're basically turning that exhibit over 3 times a day in filling it with water. That not only translates into cost from water, it also translates into cost for our pure waters charges, and also relates to the chemicals that we put into the water, because we're treating that water that's going in there to fill that exhibit. Currently, we've drained the exhibit, and we do not have water in there because it was just a losing proposition. So, you know, at this point, we are the number 2 or 3, depending on who you talk to, breeding colony of African penguins in North America. And without addressing these concerns, we would have to give up our penguins.
Thank you, Mr. Staub. No further questions.
Any other questions? Ms. Cayley.
Thank you. Through the chair, Mr. Staub, when you started on phase 1, was it already leaking?
True, yes.
And was it drained at that point? I'm just trying to understand the timeline.
No, we knew that we had a problem there, but we are also manning an exhibit throughout our busy season, the summer months. We drained it this fall once our visitors started to decline.
Okay, so through the chair, then approximately how long were we running at the leaky position?
It's been running in a leaking position for about 5 years.
Okay. Additionally, through the chair, this is slightly different. The information that I have says that the bidding request was put out twice for this. Is that, do I not understand that, or why was it reoffered?
We did bid phase 2 twice. One was included a problem with the specification on a particular pump that they were not allowed. We did hear back from that pump manufacturer who challenged that, and then we went back and amended the bid documents to include that pump.
All right, thank you.
So it was addressed in a positive way.
Right, okay, thank you. The other question, the last question that I have through the chair is, since we had anticipated that I think these phases were going to be done around now, what is the timeline? Do you anticipate that this will be done?
Phase 2 will start pretty much immediately. Phase 3, we're still working on some of the logistics on that and some redesign of the actual exhibit based on basically having to excavate the exhibit to get down and repair these leaks. And while we're at it, we're going to do a little redesign of the exhibit to include some of the some modifications that we feel would be in order based on the penguins' behavior over the last 10 years since we've had the exhibit there. Take advantage of going in and having to do the excavation. So we plan on having the entire thing wrapped up probably by this fall.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, Ms. Chair. Mr. Stubbs, is this going to have any additional costs, all this anticipation or these plannings that you have, or is it going to be on task, on budget, or?
Through you, Madam Chair, the additional funding that we've requested in this amendment to the capital budget, we feel will appropriately cost or appropriately fund both Phase 2 and Phase 3.
Through you, Madam Chair, could we just anticipate a report as we're nearing the end of Phase 2, going into Phase 3, that we're on schedule and budget?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Tucciarello.
What will be the cost savings on water, chemicals, treatment, so on and so forth, on an annual basis?
Through you, Madam Chair, the so on and so forth, I assume, would include energy, and that would be about $150,000.
Annually?
Annually.
Any further questions? Oh.
Through you, Madam Chair, I don't look at it as necessarily a savings, because if we were losing that much, it would be down a great deal of the time until it was fixed. So I think it's just stopping us from losing anything rather than a savings.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have been experiencing those losses on an annual basis because we didn't drain the pool. It would be very difficult to maintain the colony on an ongoing basis without doing these fixes, and we would basically have to keep refilling the pool on a daily basis 3 times.
Just that is basically my point. I understand that. Thank you.
Just a little note. What are the penguins doing now? Do they swim? I mean, where are they?
Through you, Madam Chair, the penguins, they do come out They primarily are in the back area, and they have a small pool in the off exhibit area
Okay, thanks.
that they frolic in.
Any further questions, any discussion? Okay, there being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anyone disapprove? Okay, item passes. Are there any other matters to come before this committee this afternoon? Wonderful. There being no further business, the March 23rd, 2010 meeting of the Recreation and Education Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Recreation and Education Committee is scheduled for April 27th, 2010 at 4:30.